All right, let's hit it. We're at episode 3 of the Desert Shift. That's what we're rolling with. I like it. What do you think about it? You like the Desert Shift?
Yeah, I mean, desert. We're here in Arizona, and shift baseball.
I had my mom ask me. She was like, "What does shift mean? Like they're shifting the players?" I'm like, "No, Mom. It's just like your work shift. Come on."
Yeah.
So today we have our very own Arizona throwing intern, Grayson Liebhardt.
Thank you.
Absolute
Thank you.
gentleman. Happy to have you on, man. Thank you for making the time, carving it out of your very busy day. I know we have a lot of stuff going on in the gym, so taking an hour out of your day, really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. It'll be fun.
Heck yeah. Yeah, so if it looks like we're a little out of breath, just a little tired. I actually had to go to the gas station and go get a nice sugar-free Red Bull, but we just got done with a velo day. Man, it was a lot of fun. That was we would turn on all the cameras. Maybe that'll end up into some content with a little velo off between 2 gap year athletes that we have. That's the environment we need to bring more. I love that stuff. That's the fun stuff, man.
Yeah, I think that's like the OG Driveline, right? It's like you think about Driveline. Like I remember when I was playing in high school, like when I first got into all the Driveline stuff, it was like the big things you'd see about Driveline was just like a bunch of dudes competing their ass off, like throwing the shit out of the ball,
kind of
live
a
ABs.
little bit of crazy,
Yeah,
mostly crazy. A lot of good environment, but like way too much caffeine, way too much stimulation, a lot of testosterone in the building.
There's no such thing as too much. But
That's true. Until you have a gram of caffeine, you're like, holy crap.
yeah.
So one of the things that came up actually was, I think this is a great topic to kind of hit us off today, is like, why did we make the different plyo ball weights? It's a pretty frequent question that we get, and I want to address that for all the guys watching. Just like, hey, like is it worth me buying these? When do you kind of implement them? So if you wanted to kind of, what do you see the value for those being with all the different weights?
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to like what your intent is with the plyo balls, right? It's like, what are you trying to accomplish? What's your goal? How do you want to go about it? So like a big thing I've done lately is like I have a lot of beginner athletes as an intern. So one, it's like you got to be careful with the youth athletes, like giving them a green ball because they're not gonna, they're not going to know how to throw it. 2, they're just going to almost push it like it's going to be a shot put throw.
Basically, they're just not strong enough yet. Yeah. Just like they don't even have the supporting muscle to like throw a 2.2 pound ball. It's pretty damn heavy for them.
Yeah, they don't have the capacity, one. And it's just really difficult for them to like train those patterns. But when it comes to like older athletes, like my high school guys that are maybe, not as high skill level, I really like giving them those heavier balls just because like a lot of guys have no idea what it feels like to get into layback.
Sure.
So it's like with pivot picks, stuff like that, ripping the pink ball, the green ball, and like actually throwing it hard, kind of gets them through that mental barrier of like, I can't throw this way. It's going to hurt.
Yeah. It's almost like that really, really tight feedback loop for those guys to like understand, okay, I probably shouldn't throw with outside of 90 with this pink ball because it's just not very comfortable. And over time, as you start to like realize that and feel that, it's just a little bit easier for them to like really comprehend and feel like, oh, okay, there we go. That feels way more natural.
Yeah.
The way I've always approached those is like, the heavy balls, I mean, we kind of know this, like obviously throwing plyo balls, the biggest thing is the proprioception. You're getting a different implement in your hand, you're changing the weights, you're changing the stimulus, you're having an athlete adapt to a bunch of different, depending on where they're at in their season or their off season, like they're adapting to that different weight and how to move that correctly through space.
Right.
However, I think one of the cooler things that with the heavy balls, it's really going to like help guys pattern stuff. I think that was probably like the best way I like to explain it to guys when I get that question is like, hey, why is this guy throwing heavy stuff primarily, and I'm throwing all the light stuff? One of them is going to promote more of the patterning of like, arm spiral, whatever it's going to be there. And also keep the arm speed low. And maybe he's in a strength phase.
For sure.
I'm not going to like switch up and have him throw a bunch of light stuff when he's just like in hypertrophy and like just like trying to push the weight. Yeah. It'd be pretty counterintuitive there. And then the light stuff is really going to promote being quick and efficient and relaxing into being explosive rather than, I think, the old saying is like, you can't bench press a fastball. It's like, you need to be strong, but you also just can't muscle up and throw a gray ball very hard. You're going to end up throwing it usually pretty damn slow.
Yeah.
So I think those are probably the best to applicate, or like the best way to kind of think about it is like heavy stuff, promoting patterning, helping some range of motion, some capacity work there, keeping arm speed and arm stress low. And then the light stuff, really, really helping guys like be efficient and learning how to get in and out of those positions really, really quickly. Have you had a lot of athletes that have been throwing any of the light stuff like recently, like primarily that underload set 2, which would be the red ball, 225 grams, the yellow ball at 150, dark green at 125, and then gray at 100 grams?
Not really. Like I said, like most of my athletes are pretty young. So like a lot of them, I'll give them like the underload 1 set just to like kind of get them acclimated. Like they're younger, like get them into those lighter plyos just because they're not as strong. They're not gonna be able to throw the heavy ones.
Yeah.
But it's like the way I always think about it is like, okay, I have an athlete that's really good about throwing heavy balls or really good at throwing light balls. It's like if they're pretty bad at throwing heavy balls, I'm probably gonna give them more heavy ones.
Exactly.
Right? Because it's like we already know if you can throw a light ball fast or hard, it's like you're able to move quickly. Now it's just like getting into the proper ranges of motion and movement patterns. So that's kind of the way I approach it.
Nice. No, I think that's a great way to approach it. I think that's something that you can walk over really, really easily of just like, people probably think about it and they're like, yeah, these guys just wanted to make more money. It's like,
for sure.
There's so many different applications for that, whether you're out of season and you need to train arm speed and you need to, your main goal is to throw baseballs harder and you're like, hey, I'm already really, really strong in the weight room. It probably doesn't do you much good to throw the blue ball 73 miles an hour, which is elite, and then throw the gray ball 86. That's just not a very big spread. And basically you should like feed the problem. You should be throwing stuff that is challenging for you to throw, so you can make sure that you're getting better at those. It's like going into the weight room and like, you're a squat monster and then you're just like, I'm just going to squat all the time. And then that guy, it's the common guy that's always like jacked his shit up top. And then he goes to squat and he's like 135 and it's like, that's all I got.
The walking Dorito.
Oh, like, man, it's so bad.
With baseball, you can do the same thing. It's like you could be the guy that throws the 3 ounce, 4 ounce, 102, and then you throw the 5 ounce ball 86. It's like, okay, what is wrong with you? Like,
dude, that was me. I was really good at throwing like the 7 ounce ball and the 6 ounce ball and the blue plyo ball. As soon as I got to a gray ball, man, like I remember hopping off of a plane coming back from like when I was training as a gap year trainee in like 2018 or so, and I plyo veloed against this dude, and I think he was a free agent at the time, but he had been in the big leagues, really high draft pick, and I kept up with him on like the blue ball. I was like, dude, that's pretty fucking cool. I'm kind of him, right? I felt really good about that. Then we got to the red ball. I think it was like we were both at like 68, 67, 70, like in that range for the blue ball. We get to like the I don't even remember what, I think it was like the red ball. And it was like the last throw of the red ball. I was like, okay, he's starting to run away a little bit. He threw a yellow ball like 90. I was like, this is a problem. I threw it 80. This is not good. Then he threw a gray ball like low 90s and I threw it like 83. And I was like, this is embarrassing now. So then it just makes you really wonder like why, I can definitely look back and be like, damn, I probably shouldn't have prioritized all those heavy balls and just like feeling good and kind of like ego throwing in front of my friends and just being like, oh, look at how good I throw a blue ball. Because then it doesn't really matter when you hop up on the mound and you go into the game and the 5 ounce ball is 82. So don't just go in there, have a plan with it. And I think we do a really, really good job here of like, utilizing the overload stuff for the appropriate stuff, appropriate drills and whatnot, and identifying what that athlete's weakness or deficiency is, taking the light stuff, and really prioritizing that at the right time. Another really cool thing that Coach Bill, shout out Coach Bill, I think he's with the Marlins now, Driveline OG, the dude was really, really like advocated heavily for having those guys like the like relievers who worked with a lot of our big league clients, and having those guys like being able to steal throws, right? Like obviously those guys, you want to keep your arm speed low, no matter how much you tell an athlete, hey, try and like nice and easy, and it's 91 on a recovery day, and you're like, what the hell? Like, think about being able to throw them, hey, you can throw this orange ball and this purple ball a lot and throw the 7 ounce ball a little bit more than usual. Really easy way, like we said earlier, just to keep the arm speed low, which we know is very important with your pulse guidelines. And then also, like, you're not going to send as much energy up the chain there because you're not going to be able to move your arm near as fast with those weighted balls. So I think those are really, really cool ways. Any other applications that you've seen that you're like, hey, man, this is a really cool way that I've used them or anything like that?
I mean, yeah, there's a few. One thing I did want to touch on, like, that we'll talk about later, too, is, like, about being good at throwing certain plyo balls is most guys don't want to throw the ones that they're bad at.
Yeah,
right?
It sucks. Makes you feel real bad.
That's something to mention. It's like, that's the thing, though. You have to throw what you're not as good at, and that's part of the game. That's how you get better. But going back to that, I think some of the applications, I mean, part of it is, yes, like choosing the right plyo, but also choosing the right drill. Like,
ooh, okay,
let's say, like, compare like your max intent day, your plyo velo. It's like, you want to rip some drop steps. You want to do step behind stuff that's going to get you moving fast. But it's like, then, like, in your case, or what you're talking about with the relievers, it's like you're not going to have those guys ripping drop steps every day because it's so hard to keep that intent down.
For sure.
It's just a movement where you're trying to move as fast as possible, and then you try to like tone that down to 70, 75%.
A lot of degrees of freedom is the way I like to explain it. Like the more degrees of freedom you have, the more you're going to be able to move, utilize momentum, and be more rotational. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
putting a drop step on a hybrid beam, being like, throw it 70%.
Yeah.
Like, you're kind of, as a coach, you're kind of like doing your athlete a disservice. He's like, I am trying, and it's really close to a PR. That's not a good thing. It's the wrong day for it.
Yeah, which, you know, you learn that. I think everyone's kind of like been like, oh, wow, that makes no sense at some point. But another application for those plyo balls is like throw them in different ways like than a baseball. I mean, like we always talk about, the reason why we throw plyos is because they're not a baseball.
Okay.
It's like you need to get better at throwing something. It's a lot easier to retrain those movement patterns when you're throwing those plyo balls rather than like a baseball. Because it's like you pick up a baseball, you're like, okay, this is familiar. I've been throwing this my whole life, throwing it the same way. You're trying to change that. So it's easier with those plyo balls. And one thing I found really interesting is how like Dan Swain has been using the plyo balls. Like he loves that maroon ball.
Swain. That's my guy right there. I thoroughly enjoy working with Dan, and I trained with him for, I think I met him in 2018, maybe 2019. Yeah. So we've been friends for a long time. He's got some since his training age is a little bit older and he's been throwing plyo balls for a while. I'm sure it's very weird coming in and you're like, he's not doing a lot of the same drills that you typically see us throw. So like, what's been super interesting with him?
One thing that I've really enjoyed kind of goes back to the plyo weights is how much he loves that maroon ball. Like,
oh, that maroon ball is maybe my favorite ball ever. Granted, again, I throw those ones really well. The light ones, I don't like any of the light ones. Let's keep it to the maroon and blue.
Like the maroon ball is one of my favorite things to give athletes, though. It's like I've started to use it more, and it just got dropped. So
yeah, we need a link to that bad boy. We need to put that link in the description right there.
Just like the Smash Factor softballs.
3-fist commish. Shout out Dylan Gargas. That's my boy.
But that maroon ball, it's a really good bridge between that green ball and that blue ball, because the blue ball is 450 grams, and then you go to the green ball, it's 1,000. Like
that's a pretty big jump.
It's a big gap.
Yeah.
So like I'm a really big fan of, like I said earlier, it's like one thing I remember about like my first few days was walking out onto the floor after I was like getting off work and seeing Jared have a pile of green balls just sitting there slinging those things. And it's like, I think there's something to that. It's like throwing heavy stuff hard. Like a lot of people are afraid of it, but it does a lot of people favors.
Yeah, I think the important part with that is like making sure that you're strong enough and you have the strength built up to withstand that type of throw with that type of weight. And I think that's why like younger athletes, they end up just like naturally throwing the lighter stuff a little bit better. Is just like they just are so whippy and so rotational. They just don't have any mass behind their limbs yet, and like the strength isn't there. But then you also have the opposite end of the spectrum of guys that are just like incredibly strong that can throw the blue ball 75 and then throw a gray ball 90. And there's definitely a happy medium, and like I love the maroon ball especially. Toby brought up a really good point. He's our pitching coordinator in Florida. I'm a guy that has really small hands. I'm pretty decent at throwing the green ball, and I like it. But there's something about being able to hold a heavier ball with 2 fingers, and rather than having to like palm it or put the 3-finger hold to it and then really think about like throwing it like a changeup almost. I really enjoy having the maroon ball and feeling like, okay, I can still throw this like a blue ball basically. Right. And like you said, it's a really good bridge of the gap to not feeling like it's too heavy, but not light enough to where, or it's small enough to still hold it with 2 fingers.
Yeah.
So give me like your favorite drill that you would do with it. Like what's a really cool one that you've implemented that you've seen some really cool results with?
The one thing that I've really loved giving athletes lately is just taking away their legs.
Oh yeah.
You can't use your legs. Like so much, like the big misconception I remember growing up, like playing baseball, the biggest thing I was always told was like, you're not using your legs enough.
Oh goodness.
It's grief.
Like, that's a tough one.
It's like that could be true. Like you may not be rotating your hips or like getting open enough, but really as long as you can get into the right positions with your lower half, that's all that matters. It's like you need a stable base to rotate from and be able to actually rotate.
Well said. Absolutely well said.
That being said, I think like one of the biggest thing I've been giving my athletes is either 1 knee down throws, which really also helps athletes feel like what blocking should feel like.
Yeah.
And 2 knee down throws, and even throwing from their butt. Like, that's been probably my favorite thing. Then you give them a heavy ball, and it's like they have no idea how to throw it hard. Nope. So they really learn how to rotate. One, like They learn what separation feels like. Like, it just creates a lot of things that they haven't felt before, haven't done before in their throw. So that's probably my favorite thing right now.
Nice. And I think it also, like, to touch on that, is like it just turns their brain off. Like, they just, like, I know we've talked about this before, keeping everything as externally motivated to the external cues as you can. Like, when you tell an athlete, like, hey, your only goal is to, like, okay, you're going to set up 2 blocks, you're going to be on your knees, and you're going to try and long toss this ball as far as you can on your appropriate day of a hybrid A day or a max distance day, throw it there. And if you get it there, great, that's your win. And if you don't, okay, like, keep working at that, continue going. And letting them kind of, like, find the freedom to express, like, okay, how do they want to move? Because we know in our biomechanics viewer that, like, pelvis rotation, like, I hate to tell it to everybody out there that, like, Grayson hits the nail on the head right there. Your lower half, its sole job is to, like, hit some really great positions, be really, really strong, and be able to accept a ton of force that you can then shoot back up the chain. You're not throwing with your legs, because if we remember, our arm throws the ball, right? Something like that.
Might be right.
I don't know. That could be a big if true moment.
Yeah.
But if this is true, man, your arm's throwing the ball. Like, you gotta, like, your torso. We know that, like, the number one correlator to ball velocity in our biomechanics database is torso rotational velocity. Basically, how quickly can your upper half rotate, while the lower half and the pelvis is, like, a relatively low on the importance. And I think that's always a really, not a shock, but I would say it's a really eye-opening moment for some younger athletes or some parents that come in. It's just like, what do you mean to tell me, like, the lower half isn't, like, the most important thing? And I don't know, it must have just been like an old baseball thing that, you know, you just got to throw with your legs. You got to get into your legs. And I think there's a really tough misconception out there that, like, your legs need to be, like, pushing off the mound and extending off the mound. And we've just known that, like, extension is going to kill rotation. It's really, really hard for a muscle to get into a very extended position and then rotate really fast from there.
For sure.
So I think that was a really, really, really well said. And I, like you mentioned, I love the maroon ball. I think the maroon ball is, like, probably one of my favorite balls that we've ever made. That and maybe, like, the pink ball, because I think it's just awesome. So
R.I.P. the black ball.
I know, dude. People don't realize, like, the black ball was V-load back in the day. Like, I remember having to roll in a 2,000 gram the green ball on a roll-in for my Plyo velos.
Yeah.
It wasn't that much fun. It was it was honestly kind of tough. But if you made it through those and, like, you remember those days, like, dude, it was nothing better than throwing a green ball, like, 45, 50, you know, throwing the shit out of it. Like, that was, like, one of the best feelings for me, at least.
For sure.
Because I was never going to keep up on the gray ball.
It was way before my time, but I've heard tales and, man, I reminisce.
Yeah, just be thankful you didn't have to go through some of those things. I didn't have to feel the black ball, thank God. But yeah, that's a good sign of a good thing, you know, of a good program that, like, you know what, we don't need to be right all the time. We're going to continue to grow, and I think I mentioned this last time with Gargis, is like, Bodie talked about that a couple weeks back, and it was just like, leave some room to be wrong. And if you're not looking back at yourself as a coach and realizing, like, damn, I could have done this better, I could have made this adjustment, you're probably not growing very much as a coach. You're probably just, like, kind of stagnant and doing the same thing, given the same program, and not exploring some new avenues to get the best results for your athletes.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, you're the best guy to talk to about that, because I feel like whenever I have my mad scientist moments, it's always with you for some reason. Like, we're always just...
You got to push the envelope.
Yeah, you got to feel like you're doing something new, doing something different. And sometimes you're going to feel like an idiot and you're going to feel like you know nothing, but that's usually a good sign that you're learning and you're figuring out what you don't know.
I will end it on this. If you, the more questions you ask, you think you'll get more answers. In theory, that's what you would think, right?
Yeah.
It just opens up more rabbit holes to go down into, of more questions of, like, well, if that matters, well, then this, and then this. And then it just gets, you can get lost in the sauce, and you can get to the Superdome very, very quickly. So
yes.
Speaking of the Superdome and, like, some of the lighter stuff, man, like, now that we just got done with that Plyo velo, like, with those gap year athletes, one of the bigger things that you always hear guys say when they take a gap year, or a guy that's like, hey, I'm going to really dedicate a long period of time to do this thing the right way. I'm going to take the 6 months, a year, whatever it is. I'm going to be in gym for 3 months. I know from personal experience, this was me. I said that. I had no idea what that meant. I showed up, and, like, I've mentioned them before on here, Eric Jagers, who I lived with, Rob Hill, who I lived with, were great mentors to me. Really taught me what that meant. But I remember being a really, really bad trainee when it started and not caring, but I knew in my heart that I wanted to care. I really did want to get better at the game of baseball, and I would have done anything, and I did. I felt like I really left it out there. But it really took up those two guys coming into my life and helping me realize like, what does that mean on a day-to-day basis? So my question to you would be like, what does that look like to you when you have an athlete that comes in here? What would be your expectation of a guy that he's taken a year off? What does that individual do on a day in and day out basis that really puts them like, man, this guy is getting after it, and I feel really confident that this guy's going to give himself the best opportunity to be a better athlete?
Yeah, I mean, really the ideal athlete is a guy that's going to come in and buy in and like trust the process, like really, trust his trainer, really believe in it. Because it's like, really when it comes down to it, it's like you're paying this money to train with us.
Yeah.
And we have so many guys that are just like, well, I don't think that's right. Like, I don't think I should be doing that. Or we'll say things that just like are very contradictory to like what the actual goal is.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing is, one, listening to your trainer, like actually following the plan. That's going to be the biggest thing.
Okay. So big buy-in. Got to be bought in. Okay.
You have to be bought in or else nothing's going to work. Consistency is going to be the biggest thing. Like every day you have to show up and do what you're supposed to do. You can't, that doesn't mean you show up and work your ass off every day and like you throw as hard as you can every day.
Yeah.
Because that's just as bad as not throwing every day or doing what you should be doing. It's really like taking those recovery days seriously, staying within those thresholds, really killing the weight room. And the biggest thing I deal with, like with my youth athletes, is like eating
enough food.
Yes.
Basically just calories. And make it even simpler than like, how much protein should I be getting? It's just like, what is your calories in compared to your calories out? When you look at it that way, it makes it way more simple than having to get down to the micronutrients of supplements or this or that. So yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and it's really important to like understand how many calories you're eating and as well as protein. It's like you want to make sure that weight you're adding is good weight and not blubber. Like you can't move it. It's not strong,
For sure.
So that's gonna be the biggest thing. Like the amount of times I hear athletes say, "Oh, but you just don't get it. I just have a super fast metabolism."
My metabolism. Yeah, it's my metabolism, bro. Trust me, bro. It's my metabolism. You hear that one all the time.
It's so bad.
It's BS.
It's like it just is nails on a chalkboard to me because
terrible.
I literally want to sit there, grab their head, shake it, and just be like, "Eat more, please."
They got to go on the. That was kind of my problem. I think when I started, I was like 6'2", 6'3", like 155 pounds, and they put me on the seafood diet. It was like, great, you seafood? I was like, oh yeah, fish, shrimp. No, idiot, you seafood, you get to eat the food. I'm like, oh, okay. Dude, you want to talk about putting on some weight. The blubber part, yes, I may have taken it a little overboard, but I was just like, damn, like this is what it's like, dude. There were so many times where after a meal, I'm just sitting there like, I just need to breathe for 10 minutes. And it was just constant, like I felt like a cow. I was like grazing like all day, every day. But like that was the only way it was going to work because at the weight that I was at, I was never going to be strong enough or big enough to basically have the physical ability or attributes and characteristics to throw the baseball hard. I was basically getting beat up by the baseball because I was too damn small. So what would be, on that topic, like what would be, something that would help guys with their eating habits? Would it be tracking their calories on an app, or would you say just like, hey, like just look at the scale every day? Like what would be something that you could recommend to those guys?
I think it's all of it. You really got to be like, if you're trying to be a high level athlete, you have to be very detail oriented.
Agreed.
Like everything that you do has to be intentional. So as far as nutrition goes, the biggest thing is going to be, okay, download MyFitnessPal. That's always the first thing I tell my athletes.
That's a great recommendation.
Download that. Actually track your calories. Track how much you're eating. You will be shocked to find out you're eating like way less than you should be or way more than you thought you were.
Right? A lot of guys tend to overshoot. I know I did for sure.
And so it's like, if you don't know how much you're eating actually like objectively, then you're not going to make any progress.
It's big guesswork.
Yeah, you're guessing. And the same thing goes with weight. Like, how are you going to know if you're eating enough calories if you don't know if you're getting bigger or like
if you're not stepping on the scale consistency every Monday, once a day, every day at the same time.
Yeah.
Those are very, very important. So yeah, that's probably my number one thing too, is like you get a college guy, it's typically your high school, college youth guys that are just like, what, I need to get bigger. A lot of pro guys are kind of already at that point, majority of them.
Absolutely.
But for a lot of those college, high school guys, are just like, how do I just put on the weight? It's like, how do you really know what you're eating? Do you track your calories? And they have no clue. And then I'm like, hey, your first week, guys come in for an assessment. I go, write me down all the food that you eat in a week.
Yeah.
Do this on this free app that's out there. That's great. And you plug it all in there and it comes out to like $1,850 a day. You're like,
it's not enough.
That's not enough. And it's just like, what do you mean, dude? I'm not full.
Yeah.
Like, great. That's your job now. You need to eat and eat more. So yeah, I think that's a great thing to hit on is just like, you got to eat more food, man, for
For
majority
sure.
of our athletes. One thing that I think that guys, shout out Casey Weathers with this, man. He has an incredible YouTube movie that Tyke Green did back in the day. It's called How Good Am I? I mean, it gives me chills just to think about it because I was there when Casey was training in like 2016, 2017. It was incredible to just be around a guy that like truly left no stone unturned.
For
He
sure.
was just one of those guys that was going to put his head down and put the work in. And I think guys come in with this expectation that because I work hard, I deserve to throw harder. And just because I show up every day, and even if you do everything correctly, baseball is just one of those games that it doesn't matter sometimes, no matter how hard you try, how much
Yeah.
you love it, how much you think you deserve it, baseball can just say no thank you.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy thing that people just like have this expectation that they're just like, well, I'm going to throw 90 by the end of this. It's like, maybe. I don't
You
know.
might.
But there's only really one way to find that out, and that's to
Mhm.
truly do that, dedicate the time, and figure it out.
Yeah.
And you might not throw, like, I didn't reach the highest level, right?
Yeah.
Neither of us did. But I know I can damn well look in the mirror and say, I gave every ounce of sweat, blood, and everything else I could give to the game that I loved. And I learned a ton from it. And it wasn't so much the fact that I can look back now and be appreciative of all the people that helped me, that trained with me, that trained me, and poured their time and energy into me because that was so important for me. Just like realize like this isn't about necessarily getting to the big leagues anymore for me.
Right.
My mentality shifted and it was like, damn, like this is about figuring out what I'm capable of and how much I'm willing to put forth in something. Because there's a lot of people in the world that probably can't look in the mirror at the end of every day and say they gave their heart to something.
Yeah.
And expected nothing in return. Everybody wants something. I want to know that there's something at the end of the tunnel. What if I told you the journey is the meat? That's
the thing.
That's the best part of the whole thing of not knowing, but trying with Juan and Peyton going out there and doing a velo day together. Like I said before we hopped in here, we had two athletes that are gap year guys that are really dedicating the time and effort and energy. And I love working with those guys because they come in every day. Their nutrition and just their hydration, their eating habits, their sleep habits, they're both working. They're trying their best to recover. They train their asses off. They do all the little things right. And I now laugh at them. They're like, I'm like, hey, you gonna throw hard today? They're like, yeah, I hope so, but we'll see. It's just about effort. I'm gonna go in there and have a great time because there's people out there that don't have that opportunity anymore. Absolutely. And you never know when that day is gonna come of you just not being able to throw the baseball anymore. Yeah. And I think that's a real eye-opening thing to kind of take into consideration. It's a little frightful, I guess, at first because you're trying to tell a guy like, hey, because at the end of the day, there's really nobody that knows what an athlete is capable of. We have some really, really good educated guesses,
We're trying to get there.
Yeah. Not to speak too much in the future, but I really believe the people that are working here are going to change baseball again with this project that the R&D team is working on. I can't even put into words how excited I am. If we can do that, it will be. I don't know if it'll change baseball specifically. I think it'll change how people train in general with biomechanics.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So I don't want to touch on that too much because I want to leave that to the R&D homies. I know they have their podcast and I don't want to steal any thunder, but it is really cool for people that work here of being like, having a biomech viewer from Logan Niss, like that stuff is so cool to have.
So exciting.
But yeah, like not knowing what you're capable of, like I think that's just something that's very hard for some guys. And I think it's a nerve-wracking thing to be like, hey, like if you put on the strength, if you do this, if you do that, there is a chance you can play at the highest level. Yeah. There's a chance you throw 90 miles an hour. I don't think people realize how difficult of a task and how many pieces of the puzzle have to be right for that to really come to fruition.
For sure. Yeah, not everyone's cut out for it. I mean, like the biggest thing though, I think about all this is you get so much more out of the process than the result.
Infinitely more.
With anything in life.
It's lovely.
I think I did myself a disservice with my playing career. Like I was one of those guys that was like, okay, long toss every day, I should be fine. It's like every year you're like, that velo's not going up. I'm not going anywhere.
Yep.
But being someone that, didn't have the resources, didn't have the information, didn't know what I was doing.
Sure.
I found passion after that in really just trying to figure out how I could do that for other people, right? Yeah. It's like, how can I make other people better? But like that's the biggest thing is you got to make sure like you're in it for the right reasons. You're not in it just for, I just want to play pro ball and that's it. It's like, okay, you're not going to do it. I can almost promise you. If you love it and you love the game and maybe you're extremely gifted, then yes, like that is a possibility. Like, you have to put everything into it. If you half-ass anything, if you're not consistent, it's just not going to work out.
Yeah, I like to think of it like a soup. It's a big soup.
Yeah.
It's not just like broth and chicken. There's the garlic, there's the salt, the pepper, the cayenne. There's so many different things, and like sometimes you just need a little bit, like a little pinch, and that's where like if you go to the hierarchy of training, and it's like you got that pyramid. Like once you're at that elite level of like, okay, I'm a minor league guy that's like trying to break on through. I'm 92, 93. Like those little things really start to matter, whether that's like supplements, like the quality of sleep you're getting, where you're sleeping. If you're always on the road, that changes your sleep schedule, how comfortable you are. Like that's where it really starts to get to the nitty gritty of things. And I think that a lot of guys want to jump to that top of the pyramid because they're like, well, that's the things that I see, LeBron James and guys like that doing. But at the end of the day, it's like, fucking LeBron James. Like the guy has earned that, right? Like that guy is the elite of the elite, and those little things really do matter. But he is, I guaranteed, taking the bottom half, whether that's like sleep, just enough calories, the little things that we've already touched on. He is dialing those things in, so he's earned the right to go to the top of the pyramid, where it's that 1% better. So don't skip over the little stuff. That's for sure.
Everyone wants that like one drill, that one, what's going to be the one implement? What's the one drill that's going to make me throw hard?
It's a smash factor softball.
No, it's the maroon Plyo.
I wish it was that easy.
It could be a turbo
If it was that easy. Could you imagine how many people would throw 95 to 100 miles an hour?
Oh, so many people.
That's what I'm saying. So like, you got to realize that like throwing this damn baseball is a fucking hard thing to do. And so when you're in those moments of like, you're taking your gap year, give yourself some grace. Like as long as you can look in the mirror, my dad used to tell me this is like, look in the mirror and be able to like say and be honest with yourself that you gave 100% effort, attitude, and energy. You can't control the outcomes sometimes, but you can control the inputs. Anthony has a shirt like that. And I'm like, dude, I think it was the first day I wore it. I was like, damn, that's a really cool shirt, bro. Because it's very, very true, and it applies to not only training but life in general. So absolutely a phenomenal takeaways from that. So hopefully a lot of if there's any gap you guys watching or whatever, I hope you guys can take away something positive from that, because it's something that I hold near and dear to my heart because of being a gap year guy that basically should never have played professional baseball or college baseball for that matter. Like throwing 77 miles an hour out of high school and in my freshman year of college, like getting up to 93 miles an hour was like I remember like crying to my dad when I hit 85. It was like, oh my God, I didn't even think that was possible. And that was just like the tip of the iceberg. So give yourself some grace, man, but be able to look in the mirror and just say, hey, I gave 100% energy, effort, attitude, everything that I possibly could control, and I put it towards my training every single day. That's a huge thing.
And that's not just training too. Like you said, the biggest things are going to be like the bottom of that hierarchy of needs. Is like you need to sleep well, you need to eat well. If you don't have those things figured out and you're like, I'm working my ass off, like I'm working so hard. No, you're not.
It just doesn't matter.
Those are the easiest things that are going to give you the most results.
Biggest bang for your buck. Biggest return on investment for sure. Which kind of brings me into the next thing that I really wanted to talk to you about is your experience at Driveline so far. Because I feel like that's something that like the people that work here, man, it is like, it's not just a job for us. We really do eat, breathe, and live baseball. I mean, I know I watch every Padre game. You watch every Mariners game. Like
painfully.
Like we really do love this shit, and we love being able to work with our athletes. Like I know when I go home, I'm like, sometimes I'll just like hop on the Biomech viewer that Logan made, and I'm like looking at stuff, and I think that's so much fun. So our environment here, can you speak to like what your experience has been as an intern here? Like if I was somebody that was trying to intern here, or amidst that, like what's been the environment been like? What's it like working here on a day in and day out basis?
I mean, working here is awesome. It's everything you can kind of like hope and dream for. Obviously, like as an intern, you're going to do intern things. Like you're going to eat shit a little bit, but like you learn so much. If you're looking for a place to learn and you are very passionate about baseball so much that like you didn't play in college, you are going through the hard path like I am, like this is the place to be. I've always like for the past like 3 years working in baseball, not on the playing side, I've been looking for that place where I can go learn, like give them all of my time and get knowledge in return and hopefully make athletes better. And this is like the place. I've worked for 2 college teams. I've had multiple internships. I've coached travel ball. This is the place where everyone goes to get better, and learn and figure out the things that no one else is going to figure out. Like
I feel like we're like one of the only places that can say that, of like you can go train with your buddies, wherever, but like what other place has our database of biomechanics? What
For
other
sure.
place is going to have coaches that are like, I mean, I'm sure there's coaches out there that are staying up late, trying to like research the stuff or get better and improve themselves. But like when you put all of it together, like I can't think of very many places that are able to put like the care factor into it, the biomechanics and the science behind it.
Yep.
The internal softwares that we have as like an employee, the things that we have access to is just crazy cool.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, we have endless things to just like the old graph, and it's like you going right here.
Yeah.
Don't fuck around. You're gonna find out. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
exactly.
we really do get that leeway, and I thought that was something that in my internship was really cool to see. Was just like, wow, you're kind of just like given the freedom to like explore things.
Yeah, which is really cool. Like, not only are you given the tools, which best tools in all of baseball, you have access to anything you could even think of.
You name it, we got it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like being given the responsibility to actually implement them is like the biggest thing. Because it's like you go to a college, you could, Wake Forest baseball team has the biggest analytics team out of.
Oh, they do phenomenal.
They have more analysts than players.
That's really? I did not know that.
But then you go and work for a college team. Don't get me wrong. I got so much out of my college experiences, working for those teams, putting in that sweat equity, that time, getting my foot in the door. But they don't give you the responsibility to, like, make a big impact. It's like you can work with the data. You can work with the numbers from TrackMan. It's like you have Rapsodo, maybe Blast. But that can only go so far, and you're only given so much responsibility. Here, you get your own athletes. You can work with them. You can program them how you want. You can train them how you want, as long as it's going to make them better. Like if you're making a conscious effort to make them better, try new things that could work. Yeah. It's like you're not going to get told that you're doing the wrong thing just because it didn't work once.
As long as it has a plan behind it, you have, whether that's research or whether that's as long as you have a thought process behind it that you feel is going to be a positive outcome.
For sure.
We really do have a lot of leeway. Like we just bought the turbo javelins that just came in. Like they're really fun to mess around with, and like we don't really know what they're going to do. I have no clue. We have not like we have no data on them really. Like I would assume they're going to be. I'm sure Bryce Kreider would probably be able to speak about this really, really well.
Absolutely.
But like for me, I'm just like, man, like throwing is throwing. Like I gotta, like guys just need to get better at this technical skill of throwing. I don't care if it's golf balls, rocks, javelins, baseballs. Like it's all great. Like you're gonna have to get into some pretty damn good positions and still throw that thing pretty far. Yeah. So I would agree. Like there is a lot of freedom for everybody. By the way, everybody interns here. Like I think that's a misconception. Like just to put it into some context, is like everybody interns that starts here. I think it's really important because I think, as you probably can speak on, is like that first day. Dude, you are bombarded. Yeah. You are hit with so much information. And I think the old saying, like, people always do like the follow me on my internship month, week 1, week 2, week, whatever. It's like you're going to learn more here in a month than you did in the last year. Yeah. And it's kind of shockingly true because you just have so much leeway to investigate things that you want to. You're the things that you're passionate about, the things that you genuinely care about. We're not assigning things to you just because it's like, oh, it's busy work. It's not like high school and college where you got to do the homework. It's like, no, we brought you on because we know that you take initiative. We bring on people that are going to take initiative and want to put their best foot forward and are going to strive for success in every aspect, whether that's the lifting side, throwing side, biomechanics, R&D, that you're going to put forth that effort. And I think that's the best thing is like when you have the leeway to go after the things that you're passionate about, that you truly love, like that is so much fun to be able to do. And it's like, I don't think about coming to work as like, I got to go to work today, like it's my job. I genuinely get to come to work and enjoy my job every day because like I hang out with some good people. I get to do what I love and I get to implement all those things and see like, okay, was I close? Was I right? Was I wrong? What can I learn from this? That's a really cool thing that I don't think you can get a lot of other places.
Absolutely. Like it's just the culture here it speaks volumes. I think you see how many people stay late after work. It's like, like you have a schedule, but it's pretty much no one's following it. Like, let's be real. It's like, I'll be in the gym, like I'll be on the floor just like doing dumb shit till whenever. And it's like, Dylan's always here late. Like everyone's always here.
Dylan's been grinding.
Everyone wants to work hard, which is really cool. And it makes you want to work even harder.
I feel like that was, like you don't want to be the first guy out of the building. It feels like that. You're like, man, like, I see all these other guys that are putting in effort and doing all this stuff. Like they're getting better than me. I don't know. That's how my mind thinks. I'm like, God, Grayson's here till 7. Like he's only scheduled till 5. And like, man, like that guy's getting better. He got 2 more hours of getting better. Like I'm gonna stay late. I'm gonna start doing some shit. So that's a really good point. Like just that environment. I know Gargus and I spoke about that on not last podcast, but the one before, of just like, man, like being in that environment and being around a bunch of people that are like-minded that are going to push you. It's like that's that little environmental thing that you're like you don't really think about, but it's in the back of your mind of like you don't want to be the dumbest guy.
Yeah, you don't want to be the slacker. Like, you don't want to be that dumbass that's just doing nothing.
I'll never forget Travis. I think it was Travis Fitt. I was like leaving. I was leaving work at like 3:00. I think I had a half day because I was leaving. I can't remember what I had. Nonetheless, he looked at me and I had stayed for like 6-7 hours or something. You know, I was like, I'm just gonna take off an hour early. I got to do this thing. And he just looks at me and goes, "Oh, part timer," and he was just like, no. And then like I was like, damn, like. And I noticed that you don't just like talk the talk here. You're gonna walk you're gonna walk it too. You're gonna have to talk. Don't talk about it, be about it, kind of idea. So that's really awesome, man. I'm really, I'll say this is like I've been really stoked to see your growth as a coach here. Obviously, we brought you on as a dude that like having the background that you have. I won't go into all of the shit that you've done, but you took a lot of initiative. All the things that we pretty much outlined in the last podcast, the clip that we did with Gargus was just like. You kind of exemplified all those things. So I know I can say that like we're happy for all the growth that you've made. I don't know where baseball will take you, man. And it'll probably take you a lot of really crazy places, as I can tell from experience. But I know no matter where you go, the people are going to be appreciative of all the effort that you always put in and the knowledge that you're always seeking. So that's always a really, really cool thing. So kudos to you on all that stuff.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm sure your mom and dad clipped that and put that on top of the refrigerator. That's going up there for sure. Okay, so my last thing. I have two things actually for you. These are two fun things.
Okay.
What is, I forgot to ask Coach Tyler, but I asked Gargus. Gargus answered, what is your go-to hot dog order when you go to the ball game? And it's T-Mobile Field. It's no longer Safeco. I made that mistake the other day, and you corrected me.
Well, okay.
Passionate Mariners fan.
In my heart, it's still Safeco.
It has to be.
Like me and my dad every summer, just like we go to Safeco for a series.
Lifelong memories.
Lifelong
memories. You'll never forget those.
Jeremy Pena, 18th inning. Was talking to Dylan about that yesterday.
Wow.
Payne was there.
That is crazy.
Actually, fun story. I'm going to tell this one real quick because it's bad. But I remember when I was little, Felix Hernandez threw a perfect game, right? I've told you this story.
I think Hefe Bodie was either at the game or like was supposed to go to the game or something weird with that as well. You were at the game?
No.
Oh, I think you have told me that. Oh my God, this is a horrible story.
So I'm a little kid, like, I've been to a few Mariner games at this point. This is like our third summer where we'd go back and, stay for a series, watch a game. I think it was against the Rays. I can't remember. But first night we got into Seattle, went straight to the game after our hotel. Yeah. It's a walk-off winner, like goes into like 2 extra innings.
That's so sick.
It's crazy. Like awesome game. It was a really good game. Second day, I'm so young. I'm just a little guy. And my dad's like, we could go to the game and see Felix pitch. We've seen pitched however many times at this point. Or we could go to the Seattle Zoo.
The Seattle Zoo, baby.
And so little Grayson was like, dude, orangutans, giraffes. Just like, let's go. What are you talking about? Let's go to the zoo. So we go to the zoo where, I kid you not, we're looking at orangutans. And my dad gets a call. And then he looks at me. He's like, Felix just threw a no-hitter. I'm like,
was it a no-hitter or a perfect game? Either way, it's ridiculous.
I think it was a perfect game, but it was just like,
wow.
We missed history. It was just like the biggest game in probably Mariner history.
Oh my God. It's funny you mentioned that because I was watching a ESPN thing, 60 for, or the 30 for 30 or 60, whatever, or the 60-minute thing. And it was on Armando Galarraga. And he would have been the 26th. And that's painful. But I think Felix was a perfect game. There's only 25. Yeah. I hate to rub salt in the wound here.
Only one in Mariner history.
Dude.
My favorite pitcher of all time.
There's only been 25 in the history of the game since like 1880.
Yeah.
And you missed it. What the fuck? You got to go.
Yeah, and this is like the guy that got me into pitching. It's like I love baseball because of Mariners. Felix Hernandez, like the biggest part of that.
What a story.
Painful.
That is tough to miss out on. But if you were there, what would you have ordered?
If I were there, I mean, I'm going to be so honest. Like, if I'm having a glizzy at the ballpark, I'm just eating it plain. Like, I'm a plain Jane kind of guy. I know.
I might get up out of this podcast.
I know.
You're a sicko.
Okay, this is where it gets crazier. If I were to put some on it, hot sauce.
And that concludes this podcast.
No, I know.
What?
If you haven't tried it, hot sauce on a dog is great.
God, dude,
I'm weird. I'm so weird. Maybe ketchup sometimes, but I'm just like, here's my thought process with the plain. I'm not going to be enjoying it for long enough to really get anything out of it. Yeah. It's just going down the hatch. I might have 2 or 3 of them, you know? So
shout out the Diamondbacks do that. They have a
value dogs.
It's like $3.
Oh my God.
I think I went there the first time and I was like, just out of respect for them doing that for the fans, I think I had 5. Yeah. 4 or 5. I was like,
actually, thank you guys. Last time I went to a D-backs game, my roommate tried to do the 9 innings, 9 dogs, 9 beers challenge.
That probably didn't end well.
No, he was cooked.
And then the last question I had was, give me your top 3, because I know both you and I are quite the caffeine guys. We do enjoy our energy drinks. Give me your top 3, if not at least your number 1, your favorite one.
Like flavors?
It's anything. If you had this is your last one. They told you, Grayson,
oh God,
you only get one more, and if you drink another one after that, we'll see you later. You ain't gonna make it to see another day. Which one are you picking?
Okay, this is in no order. I'll go top 3.
Okay.
My favorite one with sugar, because if it's life or death, only get one.
Go, probably with the sugar.
Yeah, because it's like that. Don't matter.
Yeah, true.
So I'm going Monster Aussie Lemonade. What? It's a really weird one. It's like one of the juice ones. I don't know why I like it so much. It's a weird one, but I love it.
Okay.
Second one, I've really been loving. You have too. The Ghost Welch's grape. I had one today.
Holy, that one slaps.
That one's really beautiful.
That one's very good.
I love Nos. Shout out to Nos. Theirs are good, but they're not sugar free. So
those are okay.
Yep.
Had them very infrequently.
I like the cherry one, but impossible to find.
This is supposed to be 3, not 6, man.
Okay, well, last one. Last one is the Ghost Warhead.
Oh my! Cherry one?
Yeah,
dude, I told you that.
Or the watermelon.
That one's too tart for me. It leaves like a little dry taste in the mouth.
You're very sensitive to
I know. I think so. I have to go. I'll just give you my number 1. I have not seen this drink in a very long time. I told you about it the other day.
Oh, you did.
I saw it in Washington.
This is such a
long time ago. It's called a Spike. It's like a blue can or a red can. I think it's got 400 milligrams of caffeine. It's crazy. It's a picking time bomb in a can. It's awesome. When you have a velo day and you're like, I need to get moving today, and I didn't, you should get enough sleep. But if you hadn't, and let me tell you, I'd been there a couple times, I'm going for a red or blue Spike for sure. But honorary mention, I will give. I'm a big EDM fan, and they paired with EDC Ghosted to come out with an electric lemonade that I thought was phenomenal. Not too sour, not too sweet. I thought I hit the spot.
Sounds right up my alley.
It was really great. Have not seen it since EDC week. So if we find one of those, grab like 4 of them, because I will pay you for them.
It'll be like Bush Apple when it comes back.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if you ever tried.
What's a Bush Apple?
Bush Light Apple.
Oh, I don't drink. Very often. I'll have a good glass of red wine every once in a while. But I'm sure it's probably phenomenal.
Oh, it was years. I mean,
that's bad.
Some of them when I wasn't supposed to be drinking them.
Yeah. Cut that from the pod.
Yeah.
Got it. Sorry, Mom.
But they're coming back. So.
Ooh, okay. It's kind of like the chicken wrap from McDonald's.
Yes. Bring back the whatever is the snack wrap. That's
the snack wrap. That's what's coming.
Bring it back.
Damn. All right, man. Well, that was a pleasure. I said, thank you very much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
As I said before, I've always appreciated, when you started off, man, you came in the first day, you were bright-eyed. You definitely had a lot of enthusiasm. That's something that I can very much so appreciate. You always have great energy, really great answers, and I know you're going to continue to learn, push yourself, push me. We always have great conversations. So, I think that'll wrap up for us, man. I mean, drop your favorite energy drink or go-to drink before your velo day.
Yes.
I'm very interested to see what you guys have out there. There's so many different options. Doesn't need to be caffeinated. Could just be black coffee. Could just be a little bit of water and electrolytes and some salt. I don't care. Drop it in the comments. Post it. Tag me. And let's have a conversation about it. But Grayson, I appreciate you, man. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks
for watching.
Peace.